Now I am going to let people in. So Elder Sue, if you want to wait for about 2 minutes for people's audio to kick in, and then you can kick us off.
And I will take down the screen share when you start speaking.
Elder Sue, if you would like to begin.
Hamba Majanta Shibwani Banda Sindageko Ana Pagingaba Apindageko Ana Pagingaba Hamba Majanda Shibwani Banda Apindageko Ana Pagingaba Apindageko Ana Pagingaba Hamba Come Majanda. Let's go over there. Shibwani Banda. Before we go to sleep and we forget. Abindagego Ana Dingoba. For the fire has been lit. Abindagego Ana Dingoba. the doorway to understanding is now open. So as we come to enlighten the colonial people that are here on our Mother Earth, that they can understand the words that we're telling them so that they don't go to sleep on us anymore. That they can stay wide awake to listen to the things that we have to say. Because if we don't say anything, nobody else will either. Miigwech.
Thank you so much for that opening, Elder Gary Sue. That was so grounding. I think it's really set the stage for getting started in a really great way. Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam. I'm an organizer with Grassy Narrows Solidarity Toronto. I myself am actually located on the unceded Coast Salish territories, way in the west. So I think that just goes to show how really you can be anywhere and show your support and be there. And I'm so glad that we can, because then we get to be present with such amazing openings such as that, and we have a lot more to come.
Yes, thank you so much, Elder Gary. My name's Morgan, and I'm the co-moderator for the event today with Miriam. And I'm a settler. I'm with one of the organizers with Grassy Narrows Solidarity Toronto, and I'm currently living in beautiful Toronto, which the sun has just come shining out of my window after a very cloudy, rainy morning. So I think it's a good omen for our event today. So thank you everyone so much for coming. I see so many people in the room right now. I think last I checked, I had 14 Zoom pages to scroll through, which is so fantastic. Thank you all so much for coming. And we've got people live streaming, joining us on YouTube and Facebook as well. And we're all here today to join Grassy Narrows in demanding Mercury justice and demanding compensation for all of Grassy Narrows people, as well as an end to mining, exploration, and industrial logging proposals on Grassy Narrows First Nations land.
Thanks, Morgan. And definitely before we get started, I do want to go over some housekeeping. Like Morgan said, we're on Zoom, we're on Facebook, and we are on YouTube. If on any of those channels you need any technical support, you can type into the chat and our technical support should be able to help you. If you're on Zoom, you'll find them as technical support. So you can just message them. And on YouTube and Zoom, or YouTube and Facebook, just type right into the chat. If you are on Zoom, we definitely recommend that you use the speaker view so that you are able to actually see who is speaking. As Morgan said, we have 14 pages of folks, and we don't want you to go digging through all of those just to find who is speaking. So the speaker view function should be in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So you can take a look there to see who is speaking. We also want to please ask everyone to keep this appropriate on both chat and video. If you do see something that isn't appropriate, please feel free to message our technical support team, because as with tons of people, which we're glad there are, and there's only going to be more as time goes on, we may miss something. So thanks for just that housekeeping piece.
And so now we want to introduce our first speaker today, which is Chief Randy Phobister. I just want to make sure, Chief Phobister, are you here? Do we have you with us?
Can you hear me?
Beautiful. Okay, awesome. Thanks. So glad you're here with us. Just want to check. So I'll introduce you and then I'll let you take it away. So Randy Phobister, who we're so happy to have with us today, is the Chief of Grassy Narrows First Nation, and he's been leading Grassy Narrows through the joint crises of COVID and mercury poisoning, and has been such a strong advocate for the protection of Grassy Narrows lands. So welcome, Chief Phobister.
Miigwech. This is a very exciting time when we do these river runs, rallies. I'm just sort of winded right now. I just finished checked me to my hotel, and I had to run up to catch the elevator and quickly log in and find my room. So it took some, was my more afternoon exercise anyway. So a little bit of winded. I gotta do more exercising. But anyway, everyone for joining this important rally. We've been doing every year. I guess first and foremost, I just want to acknowledge the elder that did the opening and a drum. I'd like to acknowledge that, and it's always very important. We start these meetings in person or online. You know, we need to always do these protocols, because that's what we've always have been doing since time immemorial. You know, when there's an important need, it's very important we have that connection through our elders, our knowledge keepers, that connect with the Creator, you know, to make sure, you know, what the meeting we have, we make sure it goes smoothly, and questions we have or the concerns, and the Creator will listens to us through our elders and through these important protocols. So Kichimi Gwech for that, for the opening. Like I said, I hear that word, you know, since time immemorial. Ever since I came into a leadership role, you know, every time when our leaders speak or grassroots speak, that has a big meaning. Time immemorial, since time immemorial. You know, go way back. You know, to when the First Nations were here on this part of the world. Since time immemorial, you know, there was families that had connections with other families, and that made a community, and with the leadership, and that's how with the governance structure, that's how that since time immemorial, that's how communities ran, you know, villages or camps, you know, but through all the home and territories of Turtle Island, since time immemorial, you know, we've had clean water, fresh air. You know, our forests were healthy. You know, since time immemorial, and that was given by the Creator. That's the way. That's the way it should have been, should be. But when we are living in a modern time now, that changes that very drastically. And that word time immemorial, you know, that's it's always going to be there, and that meaning is always going to, it's always going to come forward in presentations and whatnot. You know, how we're going to go forward, how we're going to live together. But when things happen, you know, again, that's the will of the Creator. That's a whole new area. Discussions can go. You know, it would be broad. You know, why, how, and when. You know, if we live the days today of time immemorial, you know, we probably wouldn't be here, you know, online with this technology. but that's the way the world is. I guess my point, what I'm trying to say is, the Creator, when we were the first ones, first peoples living in this continent, the Creator gave that to us. We keep the land healthy. We're the protectors of the land. That was, I could see why. That's why, the Creator, God, put First Nations people here in the first place, to keep the land healthy. I don't like to use the modern term stewards, stewards of the land. That's a modern term. But anyway, that's what it was meant to be in the first place. And First Nations people did a great job. But as time went along, things change. And that's what changed. Man changed that. Man changed the whole landscape of that meaning since time immemorial. So today, this is what happens. This is what happens today, everywhere. But today, I want to talk about my community of Grassy Narrows. Since time immemorial, the people traveled through the rivers, clean rivers, and they had many families all across the region, north, south, east, west. Different communities. It's a pretty big. It's a vast communities. That lived and shared their stories, their medicines, and all that, and all the knowledge. The people from up north would paddle down to visit. They would visit the families that were down river. That same with the ones further to the south. So there was connections there. There was knowledge sharing, and that was through the rivers, through canoes. That's how they traveled through the summer. And also during the winter as well. But during those times, since time immemorial, the water was so clean. As what my grandma used to say earlier. When I was at the rice picking fields, she would describe when we're having lunch break. During rice picking, we would have our lunch break, and during those lunch breaks, she would take the opportunity to talk about the past, how it was, how they lived. And the way she described it, it was so peaceful. It was just, I could see the connection. I felt that connection with my grandma at the rice picking fields. She would be caring and loving, when me and my brother would walk around along or by the rocks, by the shoreline. They would always watch us. My mother, my grandma, my grandfather. They always watch us. Be careful! Don't go close to the shoreline, or the rocks get slippery. You're going to fall in, slip in, stuff like that. That makes you feel comforted. Just that peacefulness. You're being cared for and watched over by your parents, grandparents, and that goes on with my brother. I do the same thing. When my brother would start walking off and further into the bush, I would say, let's not go too far in the bush. Let's stick close by the family. Stuff like that. So, but that's what she described. And from the water, that's where we got our drinking water, of course. But it was clean. It was clean water. You didn't have to worry. I said that before in my other presentations, and that's what my mother would say, my grandmother would say, when they used to canoe, when they were thirsty, they would just, dip their hand in the water and just drink it like that. That's how clean it was, just canoe, just keep canoeing, till you get to your destination. But that's how it was, and when it was time to swim, you didn't have to worry about, there's no such thing as rashes, skin rashes. That's how pure the water was, during those times. But later on, that changed. My mother, at other times throughout my life, my mother would share stories when she was younger, when they would travel the same route to the rice field. They would travel the same route. That was back in the 60s, I believe, 60s. And they would start noticing the discoloration of the water. It would be different. And the tea, the water tasted different. Not like what they remembered. And when they went to swim as teenage girls, they would swim, or the teenagers, and they would start noticing rashes, they were itchy on their skin. And that's that brought concern to elders, trying to find, why that's happening, why this is. Again, that's more like a modern time. I'm talking about the Dryden paper mill was already in business during those times. I'm not sure what year the Dryden paper mill was built, and when they started using this mercury, and what the purpose for the use of mercury, with that mill. That's information that needs to be really looked into further. Why and why the government at the time allowed, each time when I hear about the changes in legislation, to me it's an excuse. To me it's an excuse. It's they knew what was going to happen. They knew. You could look at all the science that was done in the past. So like when they wanted to eradicate the First Nations people, I don't know how many of you have heard about the blankets with chicken pox that was put, used just to infect the people of the many First Nations that were, in this part of the continent. There was a reason why that chicken pox was put in those blankets, and they put them out as gifts. And when First Nations people seen that, they thought it was a good gift because it would keep them warm. But they didn't know. They didn't know what the purpose, what was in those blankets. So, but that's the same thing with this mercury dump that was dumped back in the 70s, early 60s. They knew what was happening, what effects it's going to take. It's they knew what it was, but to the extent, I'm talking about just the recent health study that was done, the report I got, to the extent now the effects of this mercury It not only affects the nerve system, it not only affects, you know, the life and times of individual that will live on this earth from Grassy Narrows people. You know, their life was cut short. But this Mercury extends all the way to the unborn, people of Grassy Narrows First Nation. It's going to extend to that, the ones that aren't even born yet, because it affects the genes. From what that study shows, it affects the cells of the body when the baby is in the embryo, when that soul is in the embryo of a pregnant mother, of an infected pregnant mother with Mercury. It already affects way more than a full-grown human being, but a little embryo that affects it greatly more. You know, not only that, it affects the brain function. It affects the decision making, the part of the brain that's where the decisions come from. That's what that study shows. And when I heard about that, you know, that was just recently, about a couple of weeks ago, that really affected that just affected everything, all kinds of emotions. First anger, then the pain, what our people have been going through since the 70s, what I've seen growing up, drinking, alcoholism, children in care, poverty, all those things, you know, that made me wonder when I first came into leadership back in 2008, you know, how come the people are not moving, or they're not doing anything, or trying to, we give them houses, we help them with houses, jobs, and our people ignore the jobs. They work for a bit, then they let go of their jobs, or they get fired and turn to addictions. I've always wondered about that. Even school, you know, our students had a hard time at the schools. They would give teachers a hard time. They would act out. Children in care, you know, that how come parents are not keeping their kids? How come they're not, you know, all those questions I've had that also frustrated me. What do we need to do? But now, you know, when I got this report, you know, my mind just boggles me with new questions. More of understanding now, you know, I understand now what needs to be done, what we should be, new things, new grounds that we need to do now to help better the lives of our community members, the elders, the youth, everyone, even to prepare for the ones that are not born yet. You know, that's how far, that's the extent of the damage of this Mercury that has caused. It's a life sentence. It's a life sentence for most, for a majority. It just goes on and on and on, and it's irreversible damage. You know, when you think about that, when I think, you know, as a leader, what's the next steps? What do we need to do? And like I said, it just boggles my mind. There's a lot of more work that we need to do that shouldn't have happened, if the mercury wasn't dumped in the first place. Today, I imagine, what would have been in our community if there was never no mercury in our lives? How far would we would have been with all this stuff, with this modern life? How far would our youth be today? But that was deliberately planned and cut short as an overall plan how to destroy First Nations people, as one of the efforts. Combined residential schools, all those things that you hear about, the kids that were found, unmarked graves. You could see it connects all across Canada, even to our family, our brothers and sisters down to the south. Same thing. You could see that it was still that was still in full force. The plan was still there. CEOs came together back in the 70s, government officials. We got a lot of mercury here, so we have to dump it somewhere, dump it in the water. But there's people living downstream. Don't care, just dump in the water. And that's what I think transpired. There's no care. It's still today. Still today, we're trying to protect our territory. The grassroots have been successful in stopping logging. They have been successful, but still the government is pushing for mining in the territory. And they had, they came into the territory, trying to look where they can get do some mining without giving us proper notification. They just did it. Again, who gives those orders to happen? Again, it's from the government. Go ahead, go look where you can mine in Grassy Narrows territory. Go ahead and search. Again, same thing. And I keep saying this to the mining people. There's still chemicals being used, and those lagoons they talk about. They say it's safe, but they always breach. You hear it in the news all the time. The toxic ponds they have, the chemicals they use, they still breach. And if this toxic pond goes into the English River, it's the same thing all over again, just more added stress to the environment. It's just the same attitude of government. We tried to meet with the provincial minister, where we have to take action, and the minister didn't comment on any of this. Why we want to meet with them 2 months ago. And that's a provincial minister of Indian Affairs. Yeah, they didn't want to talk about mining. And to us, that's important. That meeting is important. Our answer has always been no. We don't want any more, resource extraction because of the damage it causes. Clear cutting does cause, does accumulate mercury. we're trying to fix our river system. Currently, we're doing a study right now. You know, the government did fund, but it's not going to last. It's not going to last because this is a big job that needs to be fixed. We can fix that, but the lives of the Grassy Narrows people, it's already set. Lives are cut short, and it has happened already. The leaders, you know, that were before me, that, you know, past chiefs, great chiefs, you know, they have died from mercury poisoning. The ones that were arguing to fund the cleanup of the river. And I could see the effects of the other leaders that went to Japan. It's affecting them. I could see that. You know, the tremors they have, the slurred speech, you know, it's when I see that, you know, it's just emotions, and but that's what drives, you know, us today. You know, how can we continue to keep our people protected from this mercury to make their lives better? But I do have hope. I do have hope. You know, the more we get support to get this river cleaned up, I do have hope. And you know, a couple decades from now, our youth that will be born are going to start getting healthier. That's what I hope. We are getting this mercury home built soon. We got funding, and again, it's from the support of the people, of the public, that's aware of the situation here in Grassy Narrows. That's what happens. Government starts listening as more people are aware, you know, across Canada, more, you know, in the province of Ontario, you know, and that's from your support. That's why you know, we were funded for Mercury Home, and we need to get this river cleaned up. It is possible. It's a big job. It's going to take lots, and that's my hope. You know, one day, you know, an elder in the future will tell a youth how it was possible through these online rallies, through the public, that the water is good again for the support of the people. So that's my hope, you know. And one day in this modern world, that's what I picture. You know, an elder talking to a youth, 30 years time. You know, that the people stepped up to clean up the river. You know, to change just this bad history that's been happening. And there are people out there that really care, you know, that do care, you know, to balance things out, to live in harmony with each other. You know, that's what the treaties were for. You know, Treaty 3, I'm from Treaty 3 territory, and that was the main purpose of the treaty, so we could live in harmony. You know, with everyone. But the destruction of the mercury destruction, you know, how it devastated our people, that's not harmony. That's not, the treaty was broken big time. when they did that outright, big time, it was broken. The history of Treaty 3. We signed a treaty with the federal government. We didn't sign a treaty with the province. That's the unique part of Treaty 3, and in other treaties as well. The province came later, but again, at that level, federal government says, the courts say, the federal, provincial need to work together. So there's a connection there, but I don't want to get into that because that's another big area. But that's the treaty. That's the why our Housekeeping at the time, 1873, to finally agree, trusting the settlers. We're going to live a good life. We're going to live in harmony with our people. The promise, a balanced life, level to level, not somebody on top looking down. It's got to be level to level government, and that's another area that needs to be pushed as well, to be understood. That's the way it should be. That's what a treaty is. But anyway, I just want to say Shimigwech for everybody that has that's here online, that has registered and hearing what this is about, and that we have more people here than the last time, and think about what I said. Since time immemorial, we can get that back, and I do have hope. There's an opportunity to make lives better for Grassy Narrows people, for everything, including, compensation for all, for all community members, ongoing. I know it doesn't fix things, but compensation, is going to help in some areas to make life better. Like we're living in modern times now, rent, hydro, all these things, even special health care, those can those would help at least to ease the pressure, of being worried, of a mother being worried, about their child. What should I do? So compensation for all will ease the pain, the suffering that's currently happening right now. And but we wish to all the people that have supported Grassy Narrows with this River Run rally, because it really helps a lot. But that's all I want to say for now for this opening, and I look forward to the rest of the speakers. And miigwech again for listening. Miigwech.
I want to thank you so much, Chief Phobister. I thank you so much for your stories. I think you mentioned so many stories that you had been hearing over generations, and I think it truly is a gift for then you to come here and share it so publicly with so many people, because I think whether it's the story of drinking the clean water straight out of the river, or the stories of making treaties with the government or talking with mining companies. I think all of those stories are so important to share and for people to hear and to really understand what you have been not only seeing in your community, but also doing to create the change. Because I think one of the most powerful stories you shared was that story of hope, and that hope of seeing so many community members and new children in 2 generations who are growing up with a clean river and with this Mercury home, and demanding compensation for all. So I really do want to thank you for sharing so much of that. I think we're also lucky, like you said, to have more people who are going to be sharing some stories. So I do want to pass it over to Chrissy Isaacs, who will be speaking next. She has been doing this work in Grassy for decades, for so long. Chrissy Isaacs is a Grassy Narrows mother, grandmother, and land defender. She was one of the initiators of the Slant Lake blockade in 2002, which is now Canada's longest running logging blockade. On top of that, Chrissy is also a singer, artist, mentor, community worker, and educator. So we're so grateful to have someone with all of those pieces to come here and share so much of her experience with us. So thanks so much, Chrissy.
Bonjour, Shawnong Nutinekwe Dijnikaz Bishututem. I'm Chrissy Isaac from Grassy Narrows. First of all, I want to say thank you to Miigwech Gary for the opening, the song and words. And I want to say Miigwech to Chief Randy for his words. I got pretty emotional listening to him speak because I started to think about my childhood here and like not really understanding as a child what mercury poisoning is and what it actually has done to our community. And he touched like something that was very, very key to me, and that's the mental health of our community. In the studies, it shows that the mercury poisoning affects the brain. And in our community growing up, I've lost many, many friends, like a lot of my peers, to suicide or to alcohol, to addictions. And I was sitting here like feeling angry and like questioning why was I born into this community, you know. And I see my path, you know, and I made that commitment when I was just a young teenager that I would be vocal. I would be vocal for the injustices that has been done to my community. So I remember being 16 years old and starting to starting to do things like creating awareness and being a part of like the environmental gatherings that were happening here. And thinking to right now, I'm a grandmother of 2, and here we are, you know, we're still addressing this issue. You know, my grandsons, they don't know, they freak out if they see us using tap water. And I remember as a kid, you know, when the ice is breaking up and at the shorelines, you know, this was the best ever, like believe me, oh my God. When the ice starts to crystallize and we would go down the lake and drink the water, and we would eat that ice, and it was so refreshing, you know. And but we didn't know, you know, at the time that our river was poisoned, you know. And I remember like us growing up eating fish. Like we were with my great grandmother a lot, and she would feed us like fish eggs. We'd have fish chowder. You know, we'd have fried fish, baked fish. Like we ate a lot of fish, like because it was, you know, free. You know, um, it was it was good food, and all that time, you know, us not really being educated at the time about you know what the damages could be, um and also me not knowing that, you know, my mother carried me in her womb, and that when I was born, they took blood from the umbilical cords at the time. I was born in 1979, and at the time they took the blood from our mother's our umbilical cords, and just a few years ago we finally got to see those results. And I when I was born, I had 19 parts per million, I believe, and I think it's like 3 times higher than what the government like allows or says is safe. So I was like a baby born with mercury flowing through my blood, and it had to be flowing through, you know, the like my mom's uterus, and it made me think, you know, so if I was born with that, you know, and at the time there was no studies saying how our children will be affected by mercury, is my children affected? You know, and I had all these questions, and are my grandchildren affected? And they are, now that it shows, you know, that it does pass down. It Our children are affected by it, and I see it now. I look around and I see our children are still suffering with the same effects that my generation was affected by, and that's mental health issues. And when I think about it, it makes me angry because we were robbed of a way of life. We were robbed of, you know, being able to have clean water. We were robbed of living off our own land. We were robbed of being able to eat that fish, you know, safely. And I feel like when Randy talks about how where would our people be, you know, I can't even dream of that because I grew up in trauma, and I blame the government for allowing them to dump that into our river, because now it created social issues because they stole a way of life from our community. They stole, like they took it from us, you know, and I'm fighting hard every day. I wake up every day, and in my prayers, you know, I'm praying for the people in my community because we see it every day how it has affected our lives. You know, we could have our people working, we could have our people out on the land, we could have, you know, and that's what we're fighting for every day, is to take them back there. And that we have faith that, you know, through this long fight, this long fight, you know, why did it take Walkerton, Ontario not that long to get clean water? And why is it taking us many years and generations to have that and to have a good life? When I think when Randy talked about how the lifespan in our community is short, it made me look around for that moment. And you know, we don't have very many old people here, and the people that are supposed to be our elders next, they're leaving already. They're 50 years old and they're leaving. You know, I'm 42 years old, and that scares me with my life. that scares me because I want to be here. I want to be here for my grandchildren. I want to be here to be able to teach these young people, and it scares me because what if I was robbed of that chance to be an elder? You know, what if I was robbed of that chance to be one of those people that passes down our history, you know, and I feel like my time here is short now. And but I'm going to use my time here to keep speaking for our community, to make sure that my grandchildren, when they have kids, to make sure that they have clean water and that they shouldn't have to be fighting this fight, you know, for them to be able to live comfortably, to have good health care, to have good education, to have mental health workers to help them with whatever they're going through in life, to have the supports here, you know, to help fight off, to help people that are in addictions. There, it just became a big mess, you know, from when they dumped that mercury into our river. And I want to take this time right now to acknowledge those people that started fighting for us. Simon Phobister and Steve Phobister, Sharon Phobister, and Tommy Kizik. Those were the people that started this fight. Bill Phobister, and just everybody that's been supporting us all these years, that have been friends of our community and that have committed, you know, to helping us to get this out to the world, and that been helping us, you know, do all these actions. And um oh, I feel so like worked up. But I poured some water from our tap into a cup here because I wanted to acknowledge that water, because I do have hope, you know, that I do have hope, you know, with these new things that are coming, you know, with them trying to figure out how they can clean up our river and the Mercury home. And I do have hope because, you know, I come from a family that that pray and go to ceremonies, and so I wanted to bring this water to sit here with me, to help me, to remind me, you know, that Nebe is always giving life, and that Nebe is so thankful, you know, that we're fighting all over everywhere. But here, you know, we I wanted to acknowledge the water that flows through here, and I wanted to sing that Nebe song. And in that song, we're giving thanks, you know, for Nebe, and saying that we love you, water. And I just wanted to share that in a ceremony that I was in, that water spirit came in, and she spoke, and she said she was so thankful for everybody that prays for her and that does these ceremonies for her, and in return she is going to give us that healing and keep giving us that good life that we need, because we need Nibit to be alive, to live. And when I'm done my song, I'm gonna put that water on the land, and let it just flow and go to all the trees. And because that's what Nipi said, is that she'll continue to give us that healing and that good life. So that's my hope. And when I see these young people that are learning about what has happened to our community, and seeing them taking that stand, and fighting for our community by um guiding us, like our generation, to put on things, for our community, to bring back our culture. They're asking for ceremonies, they're asking to be out on the land, to learn how to fish and hunt and trap. And, so to me, that gives me hope, that this fight, it's been a long fight, a long, long fight. But these little signs are showing us that we're heading to a good place for our community. And so that gives me hope. And I just want to say, um, that our number one demand right now is that all our people be compensated fairly, because we all need it and we all deserve that good life, that we all deserve good health care, and that's been a barrier for a lot of people in our community that need to get to specialists, that need to get to these people that are good with working with children that have behavior problems or that need speech therapy. And it's I see people struggling with that, because right now we don't have the resources to bring them in. And that's one of my hopes, is that when this Mercury home is built, that we have those supports for mental health, and have people come in to train these teachers how to teach our children, because that's one of the things that I see, is that our children struggle in school, with behavior problems, or they have a hard time learning. And that people that come in and teach, they need to be educated on how Mercury affects the brain in children. Also, I'm going to sing a song before I go. So I'm going to show you the water. I couldn't find my copper cup, so I just used glass. So I'm going to ask everybody that's listening and watching that when I'm singing, to be open, to have that faith with our community, picture all these people here, all the children, the babies, all the people that are in their homes right now, that are, either suffering from depression, or suffering with physical effects of Mercury. Think about our children, their future. Imagine that beautiful sunlight, that sunrise for them, because I believe in that power of collective prayer and collective energy. And I just want to say Chimigwech to everybody that came here to listen to us, and everybody that's going to continue to support us. We're going to be having a River Run rally in Toronto, I think in June or July. I'm not too sure. But, when that time comes, come and walk with us, be with us. And you can continue to support us by educating other people, and that when we have calls for action, to take action. So I'm going to sing that song now for the water. Nepe Isaki ego Jimmy Gweja wen me go Gija wen me go Nepe Isaki ego Jimmy Gweja wen me go Gija wen me go Nepe Isaki ego Jimmy Gweja wen me go Isha wen me go Nepe Isaki Ego Jimmy Gwejo and Mego Isha and Mego. Woo! So I want to say miigwech for listening, and yeah, miigwech.
Miigwech, Chrissy, thank you so, so much. That was really powerful. I've heard you speak before a few times, and it always strikes me really deeply and sticks with me for a really long time. So thank you so much for those words and those prayers and songs and stories. That idea of land theft through the poisoning of the land was really impactful and really powerful. And you know, you talked about the collective energy, and I see like people joining as we've had these beautiful speakers so far, and I know so many people. There's hundreds I can see on Zoom, and I know there's so many people on YouTube and Facebook, so I can really feel that collective energy of so many people supporting right now as you spoke. So next, we're going to hear from Sheila from Grassy Narrows Solidarity Toronto, and Sheila is going to lead us through a little participatory social media action together. So welcome, Sheila.
Hey everybody, it's so great to be here with you all today. I see some familiar faces and I see people from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from Winnipeg, from Scarborough, from Grassy Narrows. We're going to do a little bit of a social media action because we just heard from Chrissy about how the #1 demand for Grassy Narrows right now is compensation for all, so that Grassy Narrows can restore their way of life, a way of life that was robbed, as Chrissy said. And we also heard from Chief Randy Phobister about how your support has been so important to achieve the steps forward that Grassy Narrow has already achieved, like the commitment and funding to build a Mercury home, and like the river cleanup. You have been a huge part of making that happen. So what we're going to do is somebody is going to share a slide with some text to use, and we are going to show decision makers that there are thousands and thousands of people who stand with Grassy Narrows and who will not stop taking action and supporting them until all of their demands are met, including the demand for compensation for all. So if you don't have social media, no worries. You can send an email to premier@ontario.ca. You do have social media, especially Twitter. This text here is going to fit in a tweet. You can just copy it word for word. And if you have a piece of paper and a marker, like I did, you can also write a little sign and take a selfie to show your support. And this will, we're going to just take a few minutes to do this, but then afterwards, we're going to take a group photo to show how many people were here today in the Zoom supporting Grassy. So on my sign, I wrote Mercury Justice for #Grassy Narrows. You can maybe write something in the social medias app. If you don't have Twitter, you can use Instagram or Facebook, and we encourage you to tag some of the decision makers in those platforms. So I'll just read it out loud in case that's helpful. And as you write it, the suggested tweet you can write is, I support Mercury Justice for #Grassy Narrows, and then tagging Prime Minister Trudeau, Minister Chrystia Freeland, Mark Miller, Premier Ford, and MPP Greg Rickford. And then it asks, will you fairly compensate every member of Grassy Narrows First Nation to restore their health, community, and way of life? And then also encouraging you to use #FreeGrassy. So we're just going to take another minute or so to do that. And if you've already done it, or if you've written a sign, we'd love for you to take a moment to hold it up. So in about 1 minute, we will take down the slide deck and we will take a group photo, but maybe we can just leave it up there for another 30 seconds. Okay, how's everybody doing? Have you either written your sign or sent a tweet? Maybe hit a reaction button if you've managed to do that. I see some awesome handmade signs that are showing up on Zoom. So I think we can actually take down the slide at this point, and we're just going to ask everybody to be patient and hold up your sign for about 30 seconds as I quickly scroll through and just take a photo of all the amazing people who are here. So you're going to hear my camera go. I got to scroll through. There's 20 pages of people who are here on Zoom, which is amazing. And I know there's hundreds more people who are here watching on Facebook and YouTube. So just keep those signs up because I'm still taking photos. This is amazing. Almost everybody has turned their camera on with your photos. It's really beautiful to see. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Okay, so I've taken all the photos I need, so I think I can flip it back to the host. Thank you so much for participating in the social media zap. And at the end of today, we're also going to be doing a phone zap as well. So there's more ways we can take action together.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sheila. That was great. I still have my sign. I have a blurred background, so my sign seems blurry. If you did miss that, don't worry. We are going to post the slides on our free Grassy social media platforms so that you can keep tweeting if you didn't get a chance to do it now, so that you can reshare and share with friends and encourage them to tweet. And so that brings me to a point of, if you are not following us on social media, you can do that. And I'll have the tech support type in those in the chat. For Twitter, we're at Free Grassy. On Instagram, we're at grassy.narrows.solidarity. And on Facebook, I believe we're Free Grassy, Grassy Narrows Solidarity. So that can be your phrase of the day, Free Grassy, Grassy Narrows Solidarity. And you should be able to find us on different social media platforms. And also to let you know that if you haven't done so already, this is especially true probably for the folks on watching our live streams on Facebook and YouTube. But if you haven't signed up for the low traffic newsletter, you can do that at freegrassy.net. So that was a lot of information, but please take a look at the chat because we will be putting that so that you can find it.
And then we'll also post that beautiful group selfies that we just did. So you'll be able to see all of the beautiful faces. And if you're not on Zoom, you can, type your love and support into the chats as well, if you don't get a chance to be in the selfie. So we're going to go to our next speaker now. Our next speaker is Judy Da Silva.
Go ahead. I was just going to say that Judy Da Silva has been doing this work for a long time, and if you've been tuning into any of the previous virtual rallies or seen at a river run, then you've definitely seen Judy speak. So we're really stoked to have her here today. Judy Da Silva is Grassy Narrows mother to 5 children. Her children help her to have the positive energy to continue to look for justice and for a solution to the mercury poisoning of the river system in Grassy Narrows and Mother Earth. So passing it on to Judy. Is Judy here? Do we have Judy? Maybe while we're waiting for Judy, if you need to tweet at Justin Trudeau or Ford, you can do that now as well. You can get your sign back up, whatever you need, or feel free on Facebook or YouTube to even share this with your friends or onto your Facebook page. I know I was able to. As soon as I got to the Grassy Narrows Solidarity page, there was a prompt for me to share and get other people to join. So folks can still join now. we might be having some technical stuff going on. So again, this is probably a really great time for you to tweet. I know I didn't have time to tweet, so I'm actually going to use this time to tweet right now. And we are very lucky to be having this post be put back up. So this is a great time to do that.
And if you didn't get to make a sign and you missed the photo op, you can still make your sign for your own selfie for your social media. So now could be a good sign making time as well. I think we have Judy now. Hello, Judy. Oh, no, that wasn't Judy. Sorry, we had the wrong Judy up.
Oh, that was me.
Hello?
There we go.
Hello, this is Judy.
Welcome, Judy.
Hi.
Nice to have you.
Hi. Hold on just a second. I'm at the Dryden Mill site. First I'm going to say bonjour. Hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm at the Dryden Mill site and I was all set up like with the Zoom and I was listening to everybody talking and everything went haywire. My cell phone died and then like I was fully recharged and couldn't get on data, couldn't get on nothing. So sorry to everybody. I was gonna show you a video, of me sitting in front of the Dryden Mill site, and it's not working, so I have to talk to you by phone. Sorry to everybody. Bonjour, I want to thank everybody for being here today, for hanging in there, and I had all these words, to say to you, like with the backdrop of the mill spewing out its poisons, and for you to get a visual of how the mill looks and how it's been in operation since 1919, and how it dumped 10 tons of mercury into our river system, effectively poisoning our people still to this day. And like Chrissy said, like in Walkerton, their issue with E. coli was dealt with so fast. And yet with the Grassy Narrows, Anishinaabe, it's like we were saying like around 1952, they might have started dumping, but 1962 was when it's recorded. 1972 was when the fish popped up in the river system, in the English Wabagoon River system. And just to make it clear, the drinking water issue is fixable, but the mercury poison, we get it through the fish, the poisoned fish when we eat it. And I wanted to say, like bringing us to 2022, this mill is still in operation. It's still full speed ahead. And you look at like Weyerhaeuser and Kenora, their lot is full of trees, and you think, how can this be? Like 2022, all these industries across Turtle Island are still spewing out poisons. And we have these rallies, these virtual rallies, these protests. We have frontline people like the Squepmic in BC that are fighting against the Trans Mountain pipelines. And then we have Winona Leduc down south of us. All these water protectors, and then you see Dakota Access Pipelines that happened. Like there's a huge campground there of people that came together to protect the water, and they're treated really badly. And one of the things I want to bring out is like highlighting like high level issues, including Grassy Narrows, and like years and years of us fighting. It falls on deaf ears. And no matter how much we tell our sad stories to people, it falls on deaf ears. And only with your support, you amplify our voices, you bring light to our issue. In my community of Shupshkusagang, Grassy Narrows, we have registered 1,600 people that live there, without talking about the teachers and people that live with us. But band members 1,600. But there's, I think the band membership clerk told me there's like 500 people that actually live there. The rest live off reserve. But it doesn't mean they weren't poisoned. They live like in Winnipeg, Thunder Bay, Hamilton, Florida, Ohio. All our people been scattered like all over the place. And I know some of these young relatives, they're poisoned in the womb, like what Chrissy was saying. She's saying that they took the umbilical cords from young moms in the 1970s, and our people didn't even know about it till Dr. Donna Mergler found out that they're in Health Canada, and it took her a long time to get the data out from them and to deliver to people like Chrissy and tell them you're poisoned when you're in the womb. So these are all information that was withheld from us. And just like, I'm just painting you a picture of what we in Grassy Narrows have to deal with each and every day, and how we fight for that justice. And with this virtual rally, this is part of that fighting for justice for our people. And, I'm really thankful to all the speakers today, Miigwech, Chief Randy, Miigwech, Shawnung, Newton, and Miigwech to the elder, Gary Sewell. He always stands with us. He always helps us, and we honor that. And also to all the organizers, and also Adam Beach. I can't wait to hear him. And I've known him since he was just a teenager, and I look forward to listening to him, and Shayna Loon. And Miigwech for listening to us today. And I'm sorry I couldn't go on that Zoom thing, technology, and I feel like we were shut down because I couldn't even get data, or I couldn't even phone. And then the Zoom, I felt like I got blocked. So to all you people out there that understand what I'm saying, Miigwech for listening, and I have to actually cut out. So thank you for listening, Miigwech.
Miigwech, Judy, thank you so much for those words and for being able to make it. I know those technical issues can be really stressful, and I'm so glad we got to hear from you regardless. And your words are so powerful and so necessary and important for everyone here to hear. So thank you so much for being able to be here. Next up after Judy, we're going to have Anna and Johanna from Showing Up for Racial Justice, or SURGE, Toronto. And Anna and Johanna are going to be talking about this year's fundraiser to support the River Run. So I'll leave it to you two. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us, everyone. My name is Anna, and I'm a white settler of Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry from Eastern Europe. Thank you so much to all the speakers for sharing such powerful words and wisdom with us today. And thank you so much for your ongoing work for resistance and Indigenous sovereignty. I feel so honored and privileged to learn from you today and to share this space. I'm joining everyone from Toronto, and on this land, I'm guided by my responsibilities under the 2-row Wampum Belt Covenant. I want to acknowledge the stewards of this land that I'm on, the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Chippewa, the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and the Haudenosaunee people, and the strong urban Indigenous community that's here in Toronto today.
Hi, everybody. My name's Johanna. My pronouns are they and them. I'm a white settler and a queer parent, and I'm also calling in from Toronto. So I'm here today as a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice, or SURGE Toronto. SURGE Toronto believes that no one is free until everyone is free. And we focus on organizing white people to show up in solidarity and join movements for justice led by Black, Indigenous, and racialized organizers and communities. But today we are joining you to collectively redistribute some resources in order to support Grassy Narrows 2022 River Run. The River Run is a really important action that has brought thousands of people to the streets of Toronto since 2010. It's an opportunity to build deeper relationships of care and solidarity, raise public awareness, apply political pressure, and support the leadership of youth, elders, and organizers from Grassy. But it requires money to make it happen. Over 50 community members are planning on traveling the almost 2,000 kilometers from Grassy to Toronto in order to bring their demands for justice to Queen's Park. So let's help make this possible.
So sometimes thinking about money can feel like a distraction from the real work, or can bring up feelings of shame, guilt, scarcity, or fear. Now, I know that's definitely the case for me, but we're going to talk about money anyways. So for settlers, our access to accumulated wealth, resources, and land is directly tied to colonial violence, land theft, and systemic racism against Indigenous people. Whether through active land theft, resource extraction, or environmental racism, our tax dollars as Canadians are going directly to these systems that help keep colonialism in place. When we talk about Indigenous resistance and resurgence, these conversations cannot be separated from tangible discussions of resource redistribution. And today, we all have the opportunity to take collective action, to resist these systems, and to demand justice for those who have stewarded this land way long before myself or my family ever arrived here. Now, one of the ways to shift this power imbalance is for settlers like myself to divest of our power and our accumulated wealth. Perhaps you're like me and you don't own any land to give back. That's okay. Through resource redistribution, we can all take part in ensuring that Grassy Narrows has protected lands and forests both today and for generations to come. By resourcing this community, we support the autonomy of Grassy Narrows to protect land and life and to demand monetary support for those impacted by colonialism and mercury poisoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as we've heard together this afternoon, the poisoning of Grassy Narrows is an issue of urgent importance, and it's one that is connected to wider struggles against the theft and destruction of land and the violation of Indigenous sovereignty and the self-determination of all communities. So we are urging everyone on this call today to reflect on what is at stake for our collective humanity if we do nothing. Moving money is not the only way to show up for grassroots organizing. But shifting resources is one concrete way to begin to shift power. So today we are moving money to Grassy Narrows as an act of solidarity. We do it to redistribute wealth and resources that have been concentrated and consolidated through centuries of exploiting, stealing, looting, and stockpiling from Black, Indigenous, and racialized communities. So this is not about charity and it's not philanthropy. This is about mutual aid, collective vision, and the possibilities that emerge when grassroots community power is built to get us all free.
So true, Johanna. So, we're all here today because we want to combat the material impacts of white supremacy, racism, and colonialism in big systemic ways, but also in people's everyday lives. So I'm asking everyone on this call, almost 500 of us, and everyone watching on YouTube and Facebook, we've all gathered here today on a Saturday afternoon to take part in this rally. So let's take a moment and think about what resources we might have right now. Maybe you have a steady income and you've maintained your job through COVID. I'm guessing maybe there's some educators in here, some tradespeople, some lawyers in the room. Maybe you have more than enough to pay rent, buy groceries, and even have a little bit of money left over each month. Maybe you have access to an inheritance or family money. Or maybe you're like me and you just got paid yesterday. Maybe you have none of that, but you're still resourceful as hell. We know that people with lower incomes actually donate higher percentages of their incomes than people who make over $100,000. And we also know that every dollar makes a difference, right? So take a moment to think about it and consider what you can bring to this movement. At Surge, we ask people to lean into our feelings of discomfort because we know that the systems of money accumulation and the feelings that go with them are part and parcel of colonialism and white supremacist systems. Particularly for settlers on this call, think about what would be a stretch for you. What amount of money would make you feel uncomfortable to part with so that it actually feels like you're giving something up? That number is going to be different for everyone, right? For some people, it might be 2,000. For others, it might be 200. And for others, it might just be $10. There's no shame in what amount you can contribute. And every single one of those stretches is important and valuable. It's not a measure of your commitment. And even if you can't donate today, you can help by spreading the word. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, your enemies, your dentist. But think about, what is your stretch point? And that's what we're calling on you to commit to today.
So we don't know the background of everyone here today, but we do know that we can all support the youth and community of Grassy Narrows in the River Run this year as they take risks to fight for justice. There's no expectation around what you give, and all contributions are appreciated and celebrated. What makes this action the most powerful is that it's collective. The power comes from each of us stretching ourselves and then pooling our resources together to make a difference. It is such an opportunity to resource the amazing work that's happening in Grassy Narrows. And I believe that with this big crowd that we have this afternoon, that we can collectively move some big money. So let's see how much we can raise. Are you ready?
All right, so this is how it's going to work. We're going to use Mentimeter, and we're going to share that info right now in the chat. We'll give you a minute to open that up on another device or in another window. And this poll will allow us to track how much folks are collectively pledging today. So take a minute and get to that Mentimeter website. All right, we'll assume you're there or getting there. So through a Mentimeter poll, we'll ask each one of you to make a pledge for your stretch amount. We'll call out a number and ask if anyone is able to commit to donate that amount to support Grassy. If that number is your stretch, then click yes on the Mentimeter and then submit it. If that's not your number, that's okay. Just click refresh when the next number is announced. After each number, we'll show you on screen how many people contributed, and we'll get to see together in real time how much we're raising. It's so exciting and powerful to see the numbers adding up. If our benchmarks happen to skip your exact stretch, that's totally okay. Just pledge the next closest amount and then donate what you can. At the end of the meeting tonight, we're going to tally up people's numbers and let you all know how much we collectively pledged. And we will follow up with a link on where and how you can follow through with that commitment. All right. So to start out, we're going to do a little test question to get you excited and familiar with the Mentimeter. So why are you excited to move some money to Grassy Narrows? Why are you here today? Everyone can share some answers. Oh, we got some good ones. All right. Justice, reparations, living out real reconciliation, solidarity, bringing youth to meet decision makers. Ooh, I like it. I can tell that you've all been super jazzed up by the speakers. Wonderful. To show support and be in solidarity with Indigenous people, shift power and money back to Indigenous people. I love it. All right. I think we got a good crew here. I think we're ready to raise some money. I think my voice might be leaving, so hopefully we can raise money before it does. That's the real challenge of today. All right. So we're going to start with a big, bold pledge today. And so we're asking if folks are able to donate $5,000 to Grassy Narrows today. So that's a huge amount. We know that, but maybe for some of you, you just came into some tax money, an inheritance. Maybe you got that big bonus at work. You know, maybe you've been thinking, woohoo, all right. We got one person in the crowd. That's amazing. So awesome. All right. Anyone else before we move on? Thinking about it? All right, no worries. There's still more chances. All right, so let's move on. Do we have anyone in the audience today who could donate $2,000? Less than half of 5,000. So if you were thinking about the last one, this is a good opportunity to hop on, build the hype. You know, maybe you're thinking like, wow, I would love to do so much more than I've been doing for Indigenous solidarity. This is your chance. 2,000. Maybe, you know, you got a big bonus. Maybe
and remember to just refresh your Mentimeter screens if you're not saying this question yet.
Oh, we got one. 2. All right. Wow, look at that. We've raised $9,000 already. Incredible. That's amazing. Wow. That's the power of collective action, right? Does anyone want to do that be that third person? Take us over the $10,000 mark before we move on. Holden. All right, no worries. There's more chances. Let's go to the next slide. All right, you gotta refresh on your Mentimeter to get there. So if 5,000 was too much, maybe 2,000 was too much, we got a nice even number for you. All right, we got one person at 1,000, 2. Woo! Anyone else? Can we get some more folks in there? Maybe 4,000. Look at that. Wow, that is so amazing. Let me do some math on the fly here. We had 1 5,000, 2 2,000s, 10 5. I think that's now we have to, let's see. I think that's over $12,000, $14,000. Amazing. Such great work, everyone. Should we see if we can get to 15,000 before we move on? One more person at 1,000, take us halfway to our goal. Get the Grassy Narrows community over to Toronto so that they can demand justice at Queen's Park? Any takers? Come on, folks. This is a great time if you're thinking about it. Woo! All right. Yeah. Amazing. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Let's go to our next amount. All right, 500. So, maybe you're like me. All right, we got 3 people. See, those 3 people, maybe you don't make tons of money. Maybe you didn't get any huge bonuses this year. All right, we got 5. But maybe you're getting a good income. 7. All right. Maybe you just want to be part of this collective amazing joy. Do we think we can get to 10?
I think we
people? 9?
It's close.
Who wants to be that one person? 10. All right. Woo. Johanna, you have to do the math. What's 10 people?
I don't know, but this is 5,000 on this slide, so that's
pretty all right.
11.
11. That's awesome. We're doing so great, everyone. 12. All right. Yeah. Anyone else? Last takers? Do we think we could get it up to 15? Oh my God, we got 19,500.
Wow.
Thank you to technical support for doing the math for us. We appreciate that. All right, maybe 500 is not your jam. Let's move on.
250.
250. It's a good number. Low, makes you feel all right. We got 1 taker, 3, 7.
Love these stretches.
9.
Wow.
Everyone's going for it. We gotta bring that up. We got 12. I think we could get at least to 15.
Almost
One more?
there.
One more. Maybe we could take it even higher. Remember all of this money. 16. That's amazing. We've just heard so much really, amazing words about like what this money is going to. And so what a great opportunity. We're at 20. Let's see if we can get it to 25. Let's see if we can really help to redistribute these resources and really like give it to Grassy Narrows and let them build those leaders in that community. Can we do it? One more? You want to be the one person who takes us higher? I think we can get one more than, other people. Oh yeah.
Happen.
I think it can happen. I think we got it. We got over, 500 people listening in, 23, 2 more, and you can stop hear me harass you. It might be worth it just for that, Can we do it? Can we do it? Maybe you're thinking, I don't know, 250 is a lot, but maybe you get that extra coffee every day. And you're thinking, wow, if I just stop for like 3 months,
we did it, Anna. Did it.
All right. Yeah, I knew we got some coffee drinkers in the crowd, right? Lovely. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, $100.
It's always a popular level.
It is. It's a good amount. This is something that like even I could do, right? All right. We got, oh my God.
Coming in.
We got over $27,000 raised so far. Do you think that we can get to the goal of 30,000? I think we can. Do you think we can pass it? Look at how many people are donating. We got 38, 39, 40.
Amazing.
Ooh,
we're going to make it to 50. We're going to make it to 50.
We should make it to 50. Let's do this. This is the moment that you've been waiting for. You've been sitting here like, I really want to donate. I really want to help out. But those other numbers have just been like a little too high for me. I feel that. But this is the moment. This is it, again, it's a Saturday. Some of you probably got paid yesterday. Keep yourself safe. Don't go out clubbing. Give Grassy Narrows the money instead. Great choice. 47. 3 more. I think we got this. 3 more. Can we do this? Do, 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 do. No one's taking it. I think we got 3 more people in the crowd. 2 more.
Okay, we're there. Almost
You
there.
could be that person that takes us over the edge. We're almost at 30,000. 49. 1 more person. Who's it gonna be? Will it be you? All right.
It was somebody. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. These
You got me
stretches are
over-
amazing. We are doing incredible things together today. And
This
moving
is
us on.
so great. Wow.
We just passed our goal.
32,500. That's so amazing. And we haven't even finished yet.
No, we're not
$50.
done. Look at that.
Wow. It's just going up and up. This is your time, maybe you have a service job, you're really living on tips. Maybe you live in Toronto like me and rent is so expensive, but $50, it's a fairly easy one if you got some level of income. We got 16 already. Do you think we could take it up to 20? Should we go for 20? $50, 18. Maybe if
We love the $50 donations. It all matters so much. We see you, we appreciate you. Look at that. We're at 20 already.
Woo! All right. 21, 22. Should we make it to 25? Can we do it? Even if you donated $500, feel free to donate, 550.
Good point,
I
Anna.
promise
Never too
it's
late.
okay. We won't stop you. 2 more. Do we got 2 more people in the crowd? Oh yeah, all right. Woo! 26.
We're right past.
Amazing. All right. Hopefully
us
Pat is gonna tell us soon where we're at. All right. 25. So fast. You're all pros at Mentimeter now. We got a quick crowd today. I love it. 33,760. Amazing. And we have 6 people already. Raising 25,700 just keeps going up. What an amazing crowd. This is the power of collective action. We have raised so much money today. And if you haven't donated yet, don't miss out on your opportunity to be part of it. Like, this is your moment. We don't get to fundraise like as a group and see it happen in real life like too often, but like this is amazing. I'm sad I don't get to play on the Mentimeter, but I'll do it after this.
All right. I think the next is our last slide, Anna. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it. We've raised so much money already. But
it's not too late.
It's not too late. So remember, like, it's not about how much money you give. It's about what's that stretch for you, right? And I know there's probably some folks in the audience that are thinking like, I wish I could donate. I wish I could help out, but it's not financially viable for me right now. $10, $5, that makes a difference, right? That means something.
Yeah.
And we got 5 people here right now, and those 5 people together, it's just as much as 50, right? This is really what matters, is seeing it all come together. Oh, we got another one. Do you think we could get 10 pledges? Johanna just sighed at that, so maybe not.
I just donated $10, Anna. So
all right, we got 9 $10 pledges. One more? Do we have one more in us? All right. Woo! Amazing.
That's $100 right there.
Woo! That's so great. That's
it's still
11,
coming in.
we better not stop yet. I think, everyone's so hyped about this. That's so amazing. So yeah, I mean, thank you all so much for participating in today's collective resource redistribution action. So we'll be posting details, and I see they posted in the chat already on how you can follow through on your pledge today. So, we love that you pledged, but make sure you follow through. And
yeah. So we've been, I think our tech support has been doing some back end math. I don't know if I totally have an up-to-date number, but I think that we probably blew past $35,000 in the last 20 minutes together. So that's pretty incredible. It really shows you what people can do when we come together and stretch ourselves and move money collectively. And it's not insignificant, right? That's like a huge chunk of money that will all be used directly to help community members from Grassy Narrows get to the River Run's creative march and rally in Toronto this summer. For those of you who are in Toronto, I hope that I'll see you on the streets at the River Run. And thank you so much to everybody who participated in this action with us today and who is really materially helping make this kind of grassroots organizing possible. Thank you so much, and we'll pass it back to the moderators.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. What a crew. Thanks, Anna and Johanna. You both got us. I know there was just such a high energy in there. I loved it. So that was great. I'm speechless. It's hard to follow you guys.
And look what we did, over 30,000. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely thanking so much the tech support for keeping track of all of that. Do we have a final tally of what we have? I know we are speculating over 35 grand. Hopefully we'll get that soon. I know the tech support is doing a lot. Do you guys know it? I see people nodding.
I'm gonna try and I'll text you out the numbers.
Math is not my forte, so I was trying, but I couldn't quite get it.
I love math, but I was just like, I'm too excited that I'm following. Even just this platform was really great. So thank you all so much. As they said at the end, please make sure you go and donate what you pledged. The info is all in the chat. So if you're e-transferring it, solidarity@freegrassy. Oh my gosh, I want to get that right. freegrassy.com. I don't want to ruin that. Definitely take a look at the chat. And so make sure you do that. And all of the information is there. And speaking of the high energy, what do we have coming up next, Morgan?
Next, we are so excited to have the fabulous Adam Beach joining us. So Adam Beach is the most acclaimed Native American actor of his generation, and he's a proud inductee, the second ever Native American, into the Motion Picture Academy. Adam has worked with a bevy of the greatest filmmakers, from John Woo to Clint Eastwood to John Singleton, Scott Cooper, Jane Campion, Jon Favreau, to name just a few. Adam has recently starred in the Netflix feature Juanita, was seen in Scott Cooper's Hostiles alongside Christian Bale, Rosamund Pike, Ben Foster, and in David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
He is also well known for his Golden Globe winning performance in Clint Eastwood's Oscar-nominated film Flags of Our Fathers, as well as his Golden Globe nominated work in his epic HBO miniseries Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. His film work also spans his Sundance debut, Smoke Signals, to John Woo's Wind Talkers, to his starring roles in films from The Big Empty to Cowboys and Aliens, and so many more. His television work includes the HBO series Big Love, as well as 2 seasons on Law & Order SVU, and the miniseries Comanche Moon. He also completed a 4-year run on a show that he helped launch on CBC called Arctic Air. His recent work includes The Power of the Dog on Netflix and on Swan Song for Apple, starring opposite Mahershala Ali. Welcome, Adam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Hello,
Mhm.
can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi. Man, that was a long list you had there. I just want to thank everybody for having me participate, because we as Native people over the years have been really trying to express empathy for life within human beings, but also life within the natural beings when it comes to water, trees, the animals, etc. And one of those things that I'm trying to emphasize right now is that Grassy Narrows has been in a dire situation for decades, and it's finally come to a place where they are getting attention. They are getting receiving recognition in some sort from the government in regards to their turmoil. And I'm glad that everybody is here to participate on this online rally because, we have a lot of work to do in regards to sending a message of empathy toward the land, toward the possibility and hope that over the next 100 years, the land will heal itself. But in order to do that, we have to stop the industry that surrounds the infection that is disturbing and has caused problems for Grassy Narrows. And I hope that in this time that I can participate in a way that could reach out to people that I know that could help with some solutions, which are very difficult right now because people are still trying to figure out how to effectively pull out certain metals and like mercury out of waters to help heal the water. So I know that in time this technology will be available, and we should be well prepared for it, because if we're going to build something that harnesses that healing power through technology to help the waters, that will cost an exceptional amount of money. And it's a start at what we're doing. And I want to thank that organization for doing the pledge and putting together a coalition and connection of everybody to help out. It's really tremendous to see. But one of the reasons why I'm here is because of Judy Da Silva. A lot of people don't realize how important she is in the life of Adam Beach. As some people know, when I was younger, my parents died when I was 8 years old. My mother was hit by a drunk driver and died in front of our house in the ditch. 2 months later, my father died. At this time, at 8 years old, me and my two brothers moved to the city of Winnipeg to live with our aunts and uncles. In that time, I began a troubled journey of identity and figuring out my place in existence without a mother and father, and it was very difficult. I was coming of age around 16, and I started getting into a position of bad emotions and really defining who and what was I to be. And I was getting into suicidal thoughts, etc. In that time, I ran into Judy and her friends, who were a group of traditional teachers, and they were teaching Anishinaabe teachings to help anybody and everybody within the city of Winnipeg. And I found myself drawn to them, but what I learned from Judy and her friends was self-respect and also respect for others, but also respect for land, respect for the things that make us live and breathe in this world. And that began the journey of who I am today. Those teachings have remained with me, and I still continue them today. So for me to be here in honor of Judy and what she was enabled to do, not just for myself, but for many other youth that were looking for a place of identity within the city of Winnipeg. And I'm here to do my utmost best to have the empathy needed to help Judy in her situation. And I've known for the years of the situation with Grassy Narrows, and talks amongst my friends and everybody. I've found that, you know, it's a very difficult situation because of Mercury is hard to dispel. Mercury is a very dangerous product, and I have so much emotions felt with everybody who's dealing with that right now, you know, with Chrissy talking about her experience, but found the strength to, you know, to push forward and really demand for justice and achieve the words of hope, and know that within our teachings, you know, there is a healing process that is needed for the land. And I hope that we can find that direction that is needed to alter the mechanisms that we, and I say we as human beings, need when it comes to a monetary value of some sort, when it comes to logging and the industry of oil, etc. I know that, you know, Canada is a competitive nature when it comes to the world dominance of these industries, but there is a way to respect the land when it comes to the best way I can say, destroying the land. There's ways to help it heal, and then that's what I'm hoping that we can get from here, is just give time for the area of Grassy Narrows, its healing of the land. And I know that the government's putting or has promised to put an X amount of dollars forward for a health facility to help monitor the environment, but we know what the environment is. And, you know, it angers me because it's taken them this long to administer something like this. It's ridiculous. And when it comes to some of the backside deals that were being made when it comes to getting lawyers involved to fight against the company or whoever that Grassy Narrows has to fight against. My lawyer has always said that contracts and contracts can be broken. And by that I say to people who are listening that, you know, over, you know, hundreds of years, we as Native people have put together treaties to protect our identity and who we are and protect the lands. And those treaties, contracts, have been broken, have been negotiated, have been unaccounted for. And we are still fighting for that respect. We are still wanting to be acknowledged for the people of the land. We are the land. We will be here to protect it. We will be here to love it, to sing to it, to ceremony for it. And all we ask is non-Indigenous to support us, to be a part of it, and to join us at these events when they can, because the land is who we are, and there's no money in the world that can replace a land that has been decimated. It'll take a long time for some issues around the world, but my whole place that I want to be a part of this is to empathize. I want people to see the beauty of who we are when it comes to the empathy of the land. I asked Judy if there was questions about non-Indigenous people or government or people around away from the reservation asking questions. Why don't you guys move? Because I asked that question because it's a concept that's just not a part of who we are as Native people. Our home is our home. Our land is our land. This is who we are. And if you escape from that land and you go into a concrete city, you realize how important that place is. And that's why nobody wants to leave. And when you belong in a territory for thousands of years, the concept of leaving is very difficult. Your spirit, your body, your mind, everything is embedded. When I go home to my reservation, I know where I carved my name in a tree. I know where I swam. I know where I hid in a blade of grass. I know building my first fire. I know where I fished and caught my first fish. All of these things are there. And I'm here to make sure that Grassy Narrows can continue that knowledge, but that memory and that belonging. And we need to emphasize, and we need to have the empathy in regards to helping the movement and the momentum and the shift of what we're doing, because we are in a time where technology, this whole thing we're doing is a view, is a lens of who we are. We get a worldwide look into how people live their lives. And I hope that we can, like the ones who are pledging today, Surge, I think they're called, they just showed how collectively we can come together and really make change. And I'm hoping that from this is just the start of many things to come. I've been talking, I was talking to Judy a couple of days ago about coming to visit again. But this time, I'd like to, visit in regards to creating a culture camp and a language camp and really connect in a way of the Anishinaabe teachings that I had when I was younger. So I feel like I've come full circle in my life in regards to meeting up with Judy again and really defining who and what I am capable of doing in regards to an issue like this. And when it comes to water, there's a filtration process that happens with technology that we have right now. There's filters out there that can filter E. coli, and people have healthy drinking water. But when it comes to mercury, like I said, it's a different ballgame. I've helped the island of Fiji with some friends of mine, bringing them filters to their communities with buckets, and now Fiji has clean water within their communities using these filters. And if I was able to participate in something like that helped the country of Fiji, there is room to be able to do this in Canada. And I know with the Mercury, it's a different situation, but I'm gonna look through with some of my friends to try to find some solutions. And I think by this working together is what we want to create, because you can't do it alone. And Grassy Narrows have gotten this far by themselves with the organizations that they have worked with. But now we live in a different society when it comes to technology and who you could reach out to. And I'm glad that you guys are all here, because we are the ones that are going to provide the hope that Grassy Narrows has, and they've taken it this far, and they just need the support that we have to come through. And we'll see in the next coming time of how this situation turns out. But my love for Grassy Narrows, but also for Judy, you've formed the person who I am, and I'm here to do my best to help out in every way that I can. I try not to get too emotional in regards to projections. And I find myself having some sort of insight of what I can do. And after this communication that we're having here, I'll do my diligence into, seeing what I'm capable of through the friends of mine that I have. And a lot of people will be looking to us later on for support, and we'll have to prepare for that. But if anybody can show up to the rally in Toronto, that would be exceptional if you could be there to support it. And I just ask for people to look into what Anishinaabe means and who we are in our teachings. You could find a lot of it online. And, if you want a place to visit, Grassy Narrows is one of the most beautiful places you can be at. My brother lived in Eagle Lake right beside it. So it's a good territory to be in. And like I said before, empathy is needed for the land. And in our teachings, we are not above or below. We are equal to everything that surrounds us. So our prayers are connected to the water, like Chrissy did. Our prayers are connected to the trees, to the soil, to all the beings. And when you consciously put your mind and your spirit and your heart and know that there's a living being there,
Adam, did we lose you there? I don't see him.
We're just trying to find Adam.
Oh,
He
there
is coming back.
I think Adam just rejoined. I think his internet might have cut out. If someone can spotlight him again.
Hello.
There he is.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Adam.
apologize. Somebody was trying to call me right now, and I pressed it, and it went left field. So a lot of people, when they hear of our ceremonies, we always mention Mother Earth. If you look into the period of the last, say, 300 years of Native people, there has been I don't know the word. There has been man, what's the word? Anyhow, let me go back. Now, Mother Earth, my dog is dreaming right now and barking at the same time. But, Mother Earth is the connection of who we are. And it's been described about who we are for so many years that people have kind of like it doesn't really mean anything. It's almost like a word, Mother Earth, And for our people, it's right outside here. When I go garden and put some soil in my plants outside, I'm communicating and talking, and it's like a ceremony for me. I'm with Mother Earth. And when it comes to looking at the Indian and seeing our struggle for the last 300 years, a lot of people are so immune, I guess is the word, by it. They are so, they've grown up to establish a concept that Indians are troubled or there's the phrase where people are like, oh, get over it, or that was a long time ago. It's like the empathy toward us is gone. It's like we're the scarred ones, and when I see that especially the government have treated us as a monetary people, we're not even human to them sometimes. It's really odd. And I find that our people, when you look at who we are from the last 300 years of what we had to survive from, what we had to protect when it came to identity, language, culture, etc. I am so proud of our strength and our love and our empathy. Because if you look at the history of what has been experienced, some people would think that we shouldn't even have this amount of empathy. We should be really angry and hurt people, but that's, our teachings our teachings allow us to have empathy in regards to, yes, we're human beings, but there are other beings out here to take care of. And I think that creates a balance that allows us to have this strength. Like hearing about Chrissy, and Chrissy was, you could hear in her voice, was on the verge to just give up. But something empowered her, and she was able to share with us a song a gift that we sing to the waters. And I wish a lot of more people could understand that strength and awareness and that gift. And that's something I always teach or share when people ask, who is Adam Beach? And if you look outside and you see the sun, the trees, and the land, it's like that's a part of who I am. And to know me is to experience what that is. Now, I'm not a perfect human being. I get angry, I get sad, I get upset. I'm a grumpy dad in the mornings. But overall, I think I've done pretty good. And reconnecting with Judy right now is reminding me how important it is to have empathy for yourself, but also for the land. And that surge, that group, that surge, I'm so happy you guys were here because you showed this connective tissue that brought us all together on a monetary value, mind you, but the importance of what we're doing here, that's what matters. So I encourage everybody, empathy. And I'm glad I'm here. I could talk for a long time, but I just wanted to show my support and let you guys know how I'm connected with Grassy Narrows, but more so with Judy and what she was able to do as a person over her last 30 years. And I am just one of many. So I thank you, Judy. I thank Chief and Council, everybody who's participating here, because, you know, it's a lesson that we get to share with everybody. And I wanted to bring a part of me into it. And thank you. Am I still here?
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much for those beautiful words that really going to stick with us. It was so wonderful to hear you talk and your thoughts on empathy and respect and treaties and water and collectivity, which was such a beautiful way to end, and how important that is for these movements and has been for so long. And on that note, I think I saw somewhere in the chat that I think we got to $35,330, which is so beautiful, so amazing. What a fantastic group of people we have joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And make sure that for anyone who pledged, you do remember to go on and donate. All that info is in the chats, in the live stream chats. And it's really important that you remember to do that crucial step as well. Yeah, so next up, we want to just let you know a little bit about our postering campaign, which is a great way to support this year's upcoming River Run. So we have some amazing young artists from Grassy who are designing a poster for the River Run, and you can sign up for the free Grassy newsletter so we can send it to you and you can plaster your town with it. So that is our big postering campaign right now. We've done a few of them for different campaigns in the past, and they've worked terrifically. It's so beautiful to see those posters all over cities across the country. So whether or not you live in Toronto or even nearby, these beautiful posters are a great way to raise awareness about Grassy and about the River Run. And if you can come to Toronto or if you live nearby, please come join us for the River Run. So you can go to freegrassy.net/River Run poster, and that will be in the chat. You can also just go to freegrassy.net and there will be a banner at the top that will direct you where to go, and you can sign up. And then we'll email you when we have all the posters and when we have all the info, and then you can sign up, bring a bunch of friends with you, and poster all over your area.
Yeah, great. So definitely check out those websites. We'll be putting them in the chat. Like Morgan said, like these tactics have worked in the past. The postering has really helped amplify Grassy's voice, like Judy said, like coming together and amplifying their voices. Like Adam said, like come to the river run. The river run's been such a key way in which folks from Grassy have been able to come to Toronto, go to Queen's Park, and really have their message heard. And one of the main groups who are often there are the youth from Grassy Narrows. And like Morgan said, we have this amazing poster made by young people at Grassy. And so we're really glad to have a youth from Grassy here to speak with us. So we have Shy Loon with us today. Shy is a 22-year-old youth from Grassy Narrows First Nation. She's thrilled to join the online rally and speak about what is happening in her community. I don't know if she's as thrilled as we are to have her here, but we're really excited to have her. And the youth have, like I said, the youth have always been such a prominent voice at the River Run. So I'll pass it over on to Shy.
Hi, Buju. My name is Shayna Loon. I'm just gonna set my phone down. My name is Shayna Loon. I go by Shy because my first name is spelt a little different. It's Chayna, and some people get a little confused, so I just go by Shy to make it more easier. My clan is the Bear Clan, and I'm from Grassy Narrows. So I'm here today to talk about the big impact that the Mercury has had on the youth. The main reason why our youth is 90% affected, or maybe more, is because of the chemical imbalance that the mercury has had on our in our system. So our First Nation, the river is the main way of life. The water is our main way of life. We drink the water, we are provided for by the water, the animals drink the water, we eat the fish, all of the problems we face in our life today is a big sorry, I have okay, so a lot of youth today are affected through a lot of sorry, I'm really nervous right now. So there's a lot of effects that it has on youth, like headaches, dizziness. Some people have trouble with their balance. Thank you. So the contamination started, like Chrissy said, in the 1950s. And so throughout the whole years, we've all been contaminated through through our ancestors and our kukums and chumishes and our mothers and fathers, and so we're all affected, and that is the main reason why we should all be compensated, and we all deserve that, the to have those claims, because it's not fair that we have to have a certain amount of points of Mercury just to get the claims, and it's not fair to us that we have to rely on bottled water, and it's just so much. There's so much that we are going through, like the youth especially. So I don't know if anyone has said anything about this, but the youth is actually going through a really, really tough time right now. I want to say like a state of emergency, because, well, with the impact of COVID as well, everyone is just staying home. Some people are even forced to drink the water, so that's like a really big problem. And I know that another part of the why I think we are in a state of emergency is because a lot of youth are going they're going like downhill. They're not getting the direction, they're not getting any help. We need a lot of help with like mental health. We need like counselors, anything really. I wish there was more help for our community like there is in other communities, cities, towns. And I just feel like because it has been it's been about 70 years since we've been contaminated, and I can't believe it's been this long and we still haven't received that actual like help, like with the river cleaning. I know that they are testing the waters and trying to find ways to clean it, and I think it's going to be a really long process still. And I wish it wasn't this way. I wish that we didn't need to go through all of this, but just knowing that we have so much support, and all of everyone watching here today, and all of the people that are just watching through lives and on Facebook and on this Zoom call, just really feels so comforting. And like, just to know that we have a lot of support is really, really comforting. So it is said that they're going to be making a Mercury home, building a Mercury home for anyone that is really suffering, and there's going to be like counselors there and just people to help in general. So that's in the planning, and I hope that it starts being built right away, because I'm not sure if I don't think they started yet, but I think it's something that should be done right away. Another thing was I'd like to ask what can we do right now for our youth? There's a lot of youth that are, like I said, the chemical imbalance to the brain caused by mercury has led a lot of youth to think differently than everyone else and all the others that haven't been affected. So like what would help the youth to this day that are staying home, that are not being able to live the regular normal life that everyone else does? What can I know we need a lot of mental support, physical support, financial support, all the support we can get. I just feel like I feel like I really have the need to say we need help for our youth right now, like right now. Some youth are choosing the wrong way of life, and it's just so it's hard and it's sad to see my relatives and just everyone live the way they are right now back at home. And I wish it wasn't this way, but what can we do? What can we do for our youth? Any comment or response is like really appreciated. I know we're trying to bring the youth and elders together just because the whole process with the intergenerational trauma has separated everyone, and the youth want to stay connected with our elders and our families and everyone, especially. I just feel like everything is so disconnected right now, and it makes me feel so sad and upset, and I wish there was so much more I can do for my community. But oh yeah, so we're trying to reconnect, make that reconnection, but there's a lot more we need to build that process. So like with the whole process with intergenerational trauma, we want to reconnect with our land, with our families, elders. But how do we connect back to the land if we're not able to do most of the things that we're supposed to be doing, or not supposed to be doing, but that our ancestors have done and our elders have done? How do we reconnect that bond with our land to build ourselves? How do we, how long is it going to take to clean the water? How long is it going to take to finally get that help?
It is like these are
So these are some big questions that I have for our government, and these are some questions that I will be bringing to the river run. There's going to be a lot more questions, I think. I feel like now that I'm talking, I had a big speech, but now that I'm talking, my mind's just going like, I'm sorry, this is like my first time speaking in front of a lot of people, and I just feel a little, but I have some tobacco here that I've been holding to help guide me, and I hope to get I hope we all get the help that we need. I hope we all get compensated. I hope that we all get what we deserve, because this is not right. And again, for the whole mining and all that stuff, I really hope that doesn't happen in our community, because what else more do they want from us? Like we're like, I just feel like they just want us to like forget about it, and just we're all like, our elders are starting to pass, like Chrissy said, and our youth, not even just elders or adults, our youth are passing too. Like it's crazy how much this Mercury has impacted our whole community. So we've had countless numbers of youth pass away due to the mercury poisoning as well, and I can't even count how much people have passed away, and I'm just so scared how much people more are going to, and it's just something that I really don't want to think about, and it's the hard truth. Like what can we do to stop it, and what else can we do to stop it? Yeah, it's just really, I'm sorry if there's any background sounds or people talking. I'm at a youth and elders gathering right now. Yeah, it's just, this is really important to me, because I just wish I could do so much more for my community, and there's only so much I can do, right? But this is gonna be my first time going to Toronto, and my first time ever participating in the River Rally event, and I'm super excited to speak again in Toronto. Yeah, so I am encouraging everyone that's watching, everyone that is watching through the Zoom, through Facebook, through Twitter, through all social media, and even the people that are not watching, I'm encouraging everyone to come to Toronto in July for the River Rally. I feel like I'm just missing so much stuff. I literally had like a lot of stuff that I wanted to say, but I think that's it. Another thing is that I'd like to request for everyone that's able to, please say a prayer for our youth, our adults, our elders, just everyone in our community, everyone that is suffering from mercury poisoning, everyone that doesn't have the access to clean waters, and every other problem that every community is facing in in the world. Please say a prayer to everyone. I really wish that there was like a, I just wish they can snap their fingers and everything would be okay. But yeah, so I think that's it. I don't know. I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Shai. Thank you so much for talking. That was so wonderful to hear you. You did an amazing job. I know how hard it is to speak in front of people, but miigwech, that was really, really beautiful. And I know people can't message you directly, but I'm getting a lot of love for you on the chat and on the Facebook and YouTube as well. People sending you lots of love and support, and really appreciate hearing from you. So thank you so much. And fittingly, next, we just have a few more items before we let you go. And next, fittingly, after Shai's beautiful words, we have Home to Me. And Home to Me is this amazing hit single and music video made by Grassy youth who've been active in past river runs and in fighting for Mercury justice in their community. The song has gained over 1 million views online. It's really wonderful. And these are some of the youth that all of your donations that you've made today are helping to bring to Toronto and Queen's Park to continue to make their voices heard. So we'll take a few minutes and watch this video together.
Lives it, they cut down the trees while we blow kisses, defend their home while they dismiss us.
It feels like home to me. It feels like home to me. Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say home to me. Don't be afraid when you're falling in fast. There's something in the unknown. I held on to my culture, it's been calling me back. There is a story of hope. Winds of change long ago, hear a chance far and low. Our voices cried out for rain. Then it rained, brought us life, gave us faith, gave us sight. To see that we shall remain.
Let your spirit soar as far as you can. Try not to be reminded by the scars from the past. Rise from the ruins, keep protecting the land. Don't take it for granted, can't neglect what we have. Stand together as a nation, express what we feel. True conversation, address what is real. Connected to the land, we are one with each other. This is our home to discover.
It
Stay on point like the fastest arrow. Bring hope to the people of Grassy Narrows. One piece in the land, can't go back to battles. It's fire in action, casting shadows. From old to the new, let us show you the truth. Light up the path, there's a glow in the youth. Boost you to the world, this is where we live. So let the journey begin.
It feels like home to me. 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 Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say you're home to me. Sometimes it's hard to find the words to say you're home to me.
So that was super beautiful. That's actually a video I try not to watch too often because it always brings me to tears. But I think there's something about watching this film or this video and saying, okay, it's not just a beautiful video, but it's actually emblematic of what's happening in the community, because you see so many youth coming together, singing, showcasing their talent, their voice. And I think even just thinking of this virtual event where we have folks from the band, we have folks from the drum group, we have folks from the blockades, we have youth, so many people coming together. I think that's just such a theme of the power in Grassy and their decades of fighting and demanding justice. And that's why we're all here to continue that fight. And with that, I do want to pass it on to Syed Hassan. Syed Hassan is someone who's also been no stranger to supporting Grassy Narrows. Is he here? If we could spotlight him if he is here. Do we know? He's currently the He is currently the executive director of Migrant Workers Alliance for Change. But like I said, no stranger to supporting Grassy Narrows. He's been doing this for over a decade. So just want to pass it over to him because he's got a few words.
Thank you, Mariam, and thank you to all of the speakers. And thank you, of course, to everyone who's been here. I just want to reiterate that when we're talking about Grassy Narrows, what we just heard called an emergency by Shaina. And we understand that when the chief was speaking, he's talked about this, what is being faced by the community as a life sentence. And this life sentence, this state of emergency has been accompanied by one of the most inspiring, strategic, and effective resistance that has been mounted by any community in the country, and particularly in North America. We're talking about a community that has been able to successfully stop Weyerhaeuser, which is the largest logging company in the world. And that is in addition to the fight for Mercury justice. What is very specific about Grassy Narrows is it is a fight for reparations. And in doing so, it is an example and it's a model of organizing where frontline communities, underfunded grassroots leaders have come together and been able to fight and change laws and policies after these decades of poisoning. And the strategicness of it, the fact that the community has been able to mount a campaign for reparations has reverberations for every struggle, for climate justice, for Indigenous rights, and for any other community. And so what does it mean for all of us to be able to support it? So you are here. So I want you to take a moment and think about three friends, organizations that you work with, unions you're in, religious centers, churches, mosques, and gurdwaras that you are going to, where you can take this message? Can you think of 3 people who you can tell the story of what happened today? Because what it needs to be done is we need to tell this story of the injustice and the resistance, the resilience and the strategy, and the fundamental hope that Grassy Narrows is for all of our work. So think of those 3 unions, community centers, where you can take this message. Can you go and write a letter of support from your union? Can you pass a resolution? Can you have a lunch and learn at your workplace where you can show a portion of this event in the next week? And in doing so, and of course, donate, but take this work, take this inspiration, take the stories, take your own experience that you've gone through over the last couple of hours and take them back to your homes, to your families, to your workplaces, to your friends, and to your communities, and then gather it all up. And then come July, come to the streets if you're in Toronto, but also take to the streets where you are. These posters you can take and put up in your communities to create this national level focus in it as Grassy Narrows takes the next step in its journey. And so thank you so much for being here. Please continue the fight, be part of the resistance, understand that this is not one community, but it is part of setting a model and an inspiration for so many other struggles. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Yeah, what a wonderful what a wonderful thing to hear at the end here as we think about moving forward and continue to support and come together around this struggle. And like Shai said, just compensation for all as the key demand here. So we're almost done for the day. Thank you everyone so much for sticking with us. We're going to pass it off to Elder Gary Sue for a closing prayer, but we first just want to say thank you to everyone so much for your support, for your donations, for your tweets and your postering and your words, and just for showing up today to support Grassy Narrows in their ongoing fight for Mercury justice. And we've heard from so many incredible speakers so far who've highlighted the strength of the community in this decades-long fight for justice, as well as the importance of solidarity, like Hassan was just talking about, from all across Turtle Island and beyond in fighting against this settler colonial structure, which have allowed the land and the water to be poisoned or infected, as Adam talked about, and the emergency that Shai was speaking about, and that these structures still have not provided any just compensation for all the people of Grassy Narrows, regardless of showing any kind of proof to get that.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Morgan. Just echoing what she's saying, and what Hassan was saying, there are so many ways to continue to support and do work after these 2 hours that we've had together. So really make sure you're following us on social media and checking out and signing up for freegrassy.net to stay in the loop as to what Grassy is doing. You can get updates about the upcoming river run, postering, all of those different ways to stay involved. Again, if you didn't have time to take part in the Twitter action before, feel free to do that after. We are going to be closing again with Elder Gary soon. We're very fortunate to have him here. But at the end, we didn't want you to just finish off and have no way to take action. So we will have opportunity for you to phone in some folks who are decision makers in the government who are carrying through some of these policies and these plans that we're saying, hey, we need to see justice. And I want to invite Sheila back to explain this phones app and to speak a little bit more about how you guys can take action once we're done here. So is Sheila back in?
Hey, everybody. Yes, we're back. So we're going to take one quick action before we wrap up today and hear from Elder Gary Sue. And we've heard from so many speakers about how each of us has a role to play in supporting Grassy Narrows. We're all looking forward to the river run and seeing Shai there too. But this is something we can do in just 5 minutes today to keep building momentum and support for that key demand of compensation for every member of Grassy Narrows. to address the Mercury injustice and to restore the way of life that has been robbed from Grassy Narrows. So what we're going to do is there's two things you can do. First thing, really simple, is you can follow the script on this screen and call Premier Doug Ford, whose number is below, and there's live people working the phone line, so you'll actually talk to a real person when you chat. You can also contact Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, but we have an even longer list of decision makers that we're hoping, the hundreds of us who are in this online rally right now can call to keep building support for compensation for all. So we're going to put the link in the chat, but if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, it's really simple. It's bit.ly, so bit.ly/35 capital Q NYM capital B. And yeah, we're going to take a moment to do this together. And if you feel like it, you can actually turn on your camera and pull out your phone so we can see everybody making their calls together. And I'm actually going to do a sample call. You're just going to follow the script. Because there's so many of us, when you go to that link, we've divided up the numbers into 3 groups. So if your name starts with A to I, there's a list of numbers to call, and it's just so that everybody can get through and leave their messages. So I'm just going to go right ahead and dial up. No need to watch me first. You can just start making your calls right now. But if you're a little bit unsure what to do, feel free to watch. So I'm going to call the Premier 416-325-1941. And I'm just going to follow the script. So it's just answering now. I'm just getting transferred to a customer service person because they have people answering the phones live when you call the Premier. So just waiting to get connected. Hello, my name is Sheila Pisey Allen, and I live in Toronto. And I'm calling to leave a message for the Premier about the decades-long Mercury crisis in Grassy Narrows First Nation and to demand that the provincial government provide compensation. I'm calling because I'm outraged that people in Grassy Narrows have lived with the terrible effects of mercury poisoning for over 50 years. And today, only 14% of Grassy Narrows members are compensated for ongoing mercury poisoning. This needs to change. And so that's why I'm calling to demand that each and every member of Grassy Narrows is compensated, which is necessary to restore their health, community, and way of life. That's it. Bye. There we go. Simple as that. I followed the script and I did talk to a real person. So when you call the Premier, there's a message answering service. The other numbers on the list go to voicemail, but we're just going to take a few more moments so that people can make those. It's about 3 or 4 calls each. And because there's so many hundreds of us in the rally right now watching online, they're all going to get zapped. So take a moment, and if you feel like turning on your camera, we'd love to see everybody on the phones and also hear how it's going for you in your calls. I see a couple people got their phones out. This is awesome to see. Messages. So we'll take a few more minutes to do this before we close.
Okay, I know everyone's still finishing up their phone calls, which is so amazing. We're going to post all of this information. So after the event is done and you're feeling, inspired and riled up and angry, you can continue to make calls this afternoon, but also throughout the week. Those numbers are always available, and we can just continue to flood their phone lines. Maybe this whole week, that would be a good goal. So thank you everyone so much who called. Thank you, Sheila, for walking us through that. And Miigwech, thank you to so much for everyone for being here today. What a beautiful, beautiful turnout. We're going to pass it over to Elder Gary Sue for a closing prayer. And then please keep all of this info, and we'll be posting it on our socials, and you can keep supporting, and hopefully we'll see you at the river run this spring. I'll pass it over to you, Elder Gary Sue. Gary, I don't think we can hear you. I think you might be getting a request to unmute button. Do you see that? Oh, there you are, Gary. Are you able to unmute?
We see you, but we can't hear you.
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
My iPad went dead. The song is dedicated to all the women that have an interest in purifying the lifeblood of our mother, the earth. Because we are fire keepers as men. We light the fire inside of you. But it's the women who keep the dance going. Oh, Truly I see all these women dancing. And they're dancing for our beloved grandmother, our mother, the earth, because she's also a grandmother. And it talks about that in the song. The song's like from the 1500s. So in time immemorial that we've participated in the purifying of the earth, even back in those days.
So it continues in our struggle to make the colonial people realize the mistakes that they've done and to come to our way of thinking that everything is alive, everything has a purpose, and we're all joined together in a good way. And we're doing this as we participate in this river run. I remember the first time that I spoke for Grassy Narrows, and that was in Brock University, and that was 1974. So I've been at this thoughts for a long time, and I always look at the way that we have to continue to don't give up. Keep that songs and those teachings inside of your heart so that you can help them to understand in a good way. Miigwech.